Hey, folks. I thought I would do something a little bit different from what I have done in the last couple of videos that I have read or released, um, where I actually talk about the things that I like about Diablo 4. Like I have spent an excessive amount of effort complaining about the problems, but like obviously I'm continuing to play. I don't 100% understand why I'm continuing to play, but like there are parts of the game that are really cool. Like, first of all, the world is gorgeous, and I do not feel like the first area necessarily shows this off. Fractured Peaks, like, this is what we played in tons of testing, and it is maybe the least Diablo feeling area. Like, this theme song, the music that plays in the background, it's not really my thing. Like, but like the world's gorgeous. Like, so look at this stupid swinging lamp. Okay, it's not just swinging back and forth; it's behaving as though the wind is blowing, because like it will go where it swings really hard for a little bit and then it'll chill out for a little bit, or it'll get stuck in a position. Like, and you can see the lights behaving around it. Like, every level of that detail is applied to this world, and it is gorgeous. So stupid things like, okay, so I'm walking around in the mud. Let me see if I can get to a place where it'll really show it off. But like, this is not a good place because there's stone here. Let me go down the hill. But like, okay, so you can see I'm leaving footprints in the mud. That is freaking cool. Like, there was one day that I was sitting in a town and I was just walking around in a circle watching my footprints, and eventually there's a point where it resets because you've placed too many impressions in the world, but like it is more than enough to give you the illusion that the world is real. So that's cool. Like they went hardcore onto immersion, which, like, it's not necessarily what I'm looking for in an ARPG, but I have to give credit where credit is due. They nailed an immersive world. So the other thing that like I think that they have done better than any ARPG is the character creation system. So like you can come in here and fiddle with it at any given point. And like I could come in here and start changing up some of the settings, or like the makeup of the jewelry. Like, I wish they gave us the full suite of things that we could change, but like if I get tired of those markings, I can change these. Um like I would have loved it if they let us have full control over, but like I've created the Belghast Barbarian, I don't know, over half a dozen times at this point, so like it was stupid easy for me to get that all set up. And I go with this specific tattoo pattern because like my characters usually have something going on with their eye over here, and it's always the left eye. So like usually if there's like a scratch mark down through the eye, or claw marks or something, I always put that on the side. And Belghast characters always have a beard, and Belghast characters usually have some kind of a ponytail going on, and I really liked the shaved head ponytail look. But like, these models are great. Like, all of them, hands down, have been amazing. The wardrobe, like, yes, I bought the cosmetic armor set, but so like I can cobble together really badass looking barbarians. Like, so I don't know that I necessarily love any particular set. I'm looking for the sand ward. So here's another time when some kind of a search engine would be helpful. Because I was going to go to the Sandworn set, which I particularly dig. But yeah. Okay, so like this is a complete set, right? This is a match set of gear, and it looks amazing. Like, that is a really cool looking barb. I always mix and match my sets. You know, so let me get out of here. No, I don't. I want to discard it. Yeah. So, like, I am wearing a MTX chest and bone weave gauntlets and fur-lined pants. And the main reason why I almost always use fur-lined pants is because they're pants. I don't really love the kilt thing, mostly because it looks weird when you run. I don't know. Like, I expect that, you know, my poor character Schlong is chafing in all the kilts because the legs go all over the place when you're running. And then a lot of times I do fur-lined boots just because they're a good plate-looking boot, and they match the pants. So anyway, and like, this is good. Like, the only thing that I wish that they would have done is given us something more akin to the Guild Wars 2 dye system, so I had finer control over each individual piece. Like, you can dye each individual piece separately, but like, it looks weird when you do that. So like, if I come over here and I change my chest piece, like, it just looks weird because they're not really dyeing individual elements. They're applying, I don't know, like a fill color across the entire model. So like, okay, yeah, that became red, but now my armor is this hideous, rusty looking crap. You know, and that just looks dirty. So yeah, like, I'm not a big fan of, so I always go with blue because it looks fine. The metal looks okay under blue. Anyway, but yeah, like, so they're the character creation stuff is great. Like, it's amazing. You know, their weapon models are solid. Like, this sword is badass looking, and this is just a drop. Like, it's a legendary drop. This axe that's got the octopus on the side, that's amazing. Like, it looks so good. So, you know, like, I give them massive credit for the world that they've built. And this is part of why I've said, like, the hell, guess they just dropped a bunch of quest items. But like, especially once you get out of this area, the world is gorgeous and it sounds like Diablo finally. Because that's one of my key complaints of the starter area, is it doesn't really sound like Diablo. Like, it's not, you know, I've said this before, that Diablo to me is killing demons to jangly chords. And you know, like, the world is great. Like, okay, so this is Hawazar, which is where the witch doctors come from. And we get to, like, see more of that story. And that's not something that I feel like we've really explored in these games before. So, like, that's cool. The mount is really freaking cool. I wish it were less glitchy in that it hangs on terrain, but being able to roam around the world like this is really cool. Also, the character feels really great when my cooldowns are up. Because, like, yeah, no, that was great. Like, that's how a whirlwind barb is supposed to feel like. But now I'm having to half-ass my way up to building more fury so I can actually spin again. So, like, that feels less great. And now I'm waiting on these to tick down. And when they do, I can charge into a pack. You know, like, the mount attack thing feels great, but also it puts it on cooldown the second you mount. So that feels awkward. Because you tend to roam around the world quite a bit. And so let me go find a pack and I'll use it. But again, like, the mob density is so low. I'm just trying to find a big meaty pack, and like, there's all these, you know, 4 or 5 spawns at once. Okay. And they don't really pull well together, so here, okay, here we go. Okay, so boom, boom. That felt great. And there's so much potential in the way that feels. that, you know, if the whole game were just the good parts, it would feel so good. You know, because, but having to lean back on my objectively worse ability, lunging strike, it doesn't feel amazing. But anyway, like I'm supposed to be talking about the high points. You know, like I really like the world design. So that's what Hawazar looks like. It's mostly swampy areas. If you really want um, core Diablo, Skosglin is where it's at. But like it's really cool to see how the pieces of the world that we've already played through fit together. Um, you know, it's like a lot of these areas are areas that we've been to before, and you have these little aha moments when you know, move out into a field and you know uh, a nameplate comes up and it's like, oh yeah, I remember that zone from Diablo games in the past. But yeah, I mean, like it's the world is great. I which yeah, this is honestly what kind of gives me hope for maybe at some point there's going to be a great game here. And I like the events for the most part, like especially when there's other players. Um, that's the only negative that I have is like the world feels pretty empty. For as many copies as this is sold, it feels kind of empty. So like if I had more people just roaming around in the world, that it was trying to always put me in areas where there's other players organically, kind of along the lines of what Guild Wars 2 does, I think that'd be good. Like, I think this game needs something akin to the do you want to transfer to a more active zone dialogue that comes from Guild Wars 2. So, like, that would be great. Again, like, for periods of time, this feels amazing until I get crowd controlled. But once my cooldowns are off, like, I'm keeping up because I'm generating fury from hitting elites, but, you know, if that were a normal pack, I wouldn't have, you know, made it to my cooldown, so, I don't know. It just... There's a good core here, maybe not a good mechanical core, but, like, the world feels amazing. I just feel like they need to tweak some systems. You know, and honestly, like, the concept of dungeons is really cool. But I feel like there's just too many of them. Because it feels like, really, there's, I don't know, maybe something akin to 10 different dungeon designs. And they've just been copy-pasted in different places in the world. So, you know, you may be hitting the same dungeon boss you've seen so many times or the same layout that you've seen so many times, and it ends up making them all kind of just blend together. But I like the concept of what they've done with dungeons. I would like it if they added some kind of an endless dungeon to where you just do floor after floor after floor after floor. But, you know, the stash tab problems would, like, maybe if they gave us something akin to what we had in Diablo Immortal, where, so when you're running group content in that game, there's a ghost that appears at the end of every dungeon floor, that allows you to, it's a blacksmith, basically, allows you to salvage your loot. And if they had something like that, and an endless dungeon that, you know, you got a totally random floor every single time, and you had like a ghost at the end of the floor that allowed you to do some inventory maintenance, that would be an amazing end game concept. Like, that would feel great. But make them linear dungeons. No more of this backtracking crap that you have to deal with right now. Anyway, I don't know. Like I felt like I had complained about this game enough, and I wanted to at least talk about some of the high points. Yeah. See, this is an area where I'm talking about. Like, look at my foots in the muds. Um, and the game isn't all just mud and blood. Like, there are some really pretty vistas in the game. Um, it's just there's a lot of muddy, dirty messes as well, which admittedly like is part of the vibe of what they're going for, and that's fine. But um, like I really like Skosglen. Like of all the areas, Skosglen is probably my favorite. Um, but yeah, that's that's me talking about some of the finer points. Like I feel like I have fewer finer points than I do complaints. Um, but that's just kind of where I'm at with this game. Anyway, I don't know how many more of these I'll do about Diablo 4 because I kind of feel like I'm reaching the point of putting it away um, because it's just frustrating me. Um, but if I do, hopefully enjoy these videos and I'll maybe record some more. And if not, I'll talk about something else. Anyway, hopefully you're having a good week and I will see you next time. Bye.